Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Tim Braden, Second Legacy. You are amazing. And what would you guys do if I told you that there is a game afoot? It's all an illusion, guys, that Trump is not going to be president on the 20th. It's actually going to be Kamala Harris. Well, that's what the left is feeding the left right now, coming out of the Hill. This is going to be one of those you guys are going to love every second of it because the level of delusion is pretty high on the Richter scale of crazy. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on if you want to spread that freedom on a daily basis with sarcasm and humor delivered to perfection for your consumption. And with that, Tim, did you know that Tim, Trump's not going to make it? It's not going to be president. It's actually going to be Kamala Harris. This whole time, they had us.
Yeah.
Got you.
The fix is in. Yeah. I mean, I've known this all along. I mean, even after Trump won, I was like, yeah, well, Kamala really won, and they're gonna make sure Trump goes away, and Kamala's really gonna be president. This is all just a big ruse. No, that's not how any of this works.
That's probably not gonna. Well, let's just give them their due. Maybe they have some points, Tim. Maybe there's not a level of delusion and crazy that's off the Richter scale. Maybe they have some. If they don't, but maybe they tried. All right, so this is the article that we're going to be citing. This is not in a random one-off internet blog. This is from The Hill. Congress has the power to block Trump from taking office, but lawmakers must act now. The date on this is 12/26, so this is like 3 days ago. Okay, Tim, does this sound really familiar? I mean, oddly familiar? I mean, I don't know. It seems like we've had this conversation before. I think like 4 years ago, almost to the day.
Yeah. So the crazy isn't unique to just the left side of the political spectrum. The crazy is also present on the right side of the political spectrum.
A little bit.
And so I remember vividly. We were talking pre-show about this.
Yeah, we were.
I quit watching a particular host on Newsmax. I won't mention any names, Greg Kelly, but he would not stop with every single broadcast. He pushed me over to Squid Games and Tiger King.
Tiger King.
Because I could not stand to watch this guy say this stuff because he was just giving people false hope. But he too was saying back then in 2020, Trump's going to be president.
Is it?
There's things afoot. Trump will be president.
I'm like, he wasn't wrong, but he wasn't wrong though. It just took him 4 years to be right. So
it just took him 4 years to be right. Now look, and we all agree that there was tomfoolery during that election cycle.
I love that word.
But then just to say, but I know something you don't. It sounds like Adam Shifty Eyes saying, I got dirt on Trump that's indisputable. I'll release it someday. Just like Dr. Greer, full disclosure on UFOs coming tomorrow. And then tomorrow, full disclosure on UFOs is coming tomorrow.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
And then drones pop up and then the story goes away. That's weird.
Yeah, I know.
That's so odd. They're crashing all over the place. But anyway, back to this. This is what has to happen, Tim. It's such an easy road to navigate. Don't worry. I'm just going to lay this out the way they lay it out, and you tell me where this starts to take a little bit of a turn into woohoo. All right. So
right there.
The Constitution. Yeah, we nailed it. The Constitution. Good show. Good show. Right. The Constitution provides that an oath-breaking insurrectionist is ineligible to be president. And here we go. This is the plain wording of Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. Isn't it amazing how they love the Constitution? It's not, when it's for them, but when it's like, you can't take our gun rights away. It's like, Constitution is Constitution.
We're going to skip right past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and go straight to 14 because that's the one we care about today.
That's the one. The old 1-4. Nailed it.
We didn't care about it in 2020, but we care about it in 24.
No, exactly. It's situational, Tim. You didn't know. Like it's a slide ruler of where we care. That's the way this works. So no person shall hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who, having previously taken an oath to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. This disability can be removed by a 2/3 vote in each house. Okay, so now the big takeaway here, Tim. 2/3 of the Senate and 2/3 of the House. What's the small little problem with that?
Well, I mean, that can never happen.
There it is.
Right.
Weird.
So basically, it's just a ban. Like, well, if you get 100% of the votes in the House, 100% of the votes in the Senate, and two suns appear magically in the sky, then you can be president. I mean, it's an impossible task. But
it is.
but it is so crazy to me that this stuff keeps coming up because they keep accusing him of insurrection. Do you understand, folks, that Trump has never been charged with insurrection? Ever. The J6ers that got thrown in prison illegally, in my opinion, in many cases, if not all, they were never charged or convicted of insurrection.
Or ever saw a day in court.
Nobody is guilty of insurrection. It was a riot. But they're going to glob onto this. But see, there's a methodology to everything the radical left does, right?
Yes, there is.
They always, this is what's so dangerous about communists and radical leftists. They have a long game in mind. And so when they were back there calling him an insurrectionist in 2020, there was a purpose to that.
Yes, there was. It didn't work. I mean, the whole point was to get him to get unelectable.
Right. When they come up with the term assault weapon out of the thin blue air, there's a purpose to that, because 10 years down the road, they're going to beat you over the head with it and pass some law to take your rights away. They do these things on purpose. They mislabel people. They use inflammatory words, and then they do it because they have an end goal in mind, and that's what they're doing here, right?
No, you're 100% correct. And that's, guys, this is one of the things, this is one of the reasons that we started Second Legacy, Tim and I. The things that these leftists will do to our Second Amendment, the way they attack the Second Amendment, the language, the verbiage, the money, the funding, the legislation, all of it is oriented around the idea that it's an easy, low-hanging piece of fruit because you can scare people out of their rights. And if you can do it to that one, they're going to move on to the next one. The tactics stay the exact same. You're seeing everything you've seen in the Second Amendment space of which they've attacked, and we've held them pretty good. They're starting to move it into other areas, like freedom of assembly, like freedom of speech, like all of these things, very slight changes, like it's for safety. Do you guys remember the free speech zones that they put people over into? You remember that?
Yeah.
Because, dude, it's the exact same thing. It's for safety. We need to have background checks for safety. It's the same practice every single day. These leftists are oriented towards control, not towards freedom.
Yeah. I saw a sign like that just recently. I was in Gettysburg, and I was touring the battle site, and there was a sign there. I took a picture of it. I think I even posted it on X. Like, this is a free speech zone. It was in the middle of a field in the middle of nowhere. Like, come on over here and practice your First Amendment rights, folks, where nobody can hear you. You know, it's like, anyway. All right.
No, but that's a very valid point. I mean, like, guys, if you're listening to this and you're a fan of this stuff, you have to understand that they're doing the exact same things in other rights. They just started with us, and we are not going to let them do it. That's why we do this. All right. Let me provide back to the point here. Let me provide the brutal evidence and the support for how they're going to make Kamala Harris president. Tim, are you ready for all the evidence?
But yes.
Oh, you're ready. You know you love it. All right.
Yeah.
So the first one, here's the evidence of Donald Trump engaging in insurrection. The matter has been decided in 3 separate forums. So they're bringing forward 3 things. All right. And here they are. So good. The first one was January 6th with the second impeachment trial. That's stupid. That's a dumb one. That one doesn't even count. The second one, this was hilarious. The proceeding was from Colorado in a 5-day judicial due process hearing where the court found clear and convincing evidence that President Trump engaged in insurrection, as those terms are used in Section 3. The Colorado Supreme Court affirmed. Now, do you remember what happened with this case, Tim?
Yeah.
Because this was the whole one where they tried to remove him from the ballot.
Right. It was thrown out.
Thrown out by the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So their first one was an was a impeachment trial, which didn't happen. And then the second one was a Colorado ruling to remove him from the ballot, which the Supreme Court said, no, you can't do that. So they took an L. And then the third one is the bipartisan inquiry of House Select Committee to investigate January 6th, resulting in 0 charges, resulting in 0 recommendations, all of which is completely pointless and fruitless. But those are the reasons, Tim.
Yep. And I believe there's a report out now, and there might actually be charges brought against some of the J6 committee people because of the shenanigans they pulled. So
that's weird.
Yeah. But this is typical. So I think it's so funny, like what happened in Colorado. So you have a bunch of political activists that have a position in local government, and they said, let's all get together and let's just charge Trump with insurrection, and we'll just convict him of it, and then therefore we're going to keep him off the ballot in Colorado. And of course, the state Supreme Court, like you said, stepped in and said, no, this is absolute lunacy. Shut up. Mm-hmm. And so, but this is what they're globbing onto, right? They're globbing onto stuff like this, saying, well, again,
we don't know.
He has never been formally charged with insurrection. It's something that the radical left has been throwing at him for years, but there has been no legal action to that end at all. Nothing. So you can't say that he's guilty of insurrection and then say that's how we're going to keep him out of the White House. That's just not going to fly. But they're holding on to this false hope. So bless their little stupid souls. Let them
just gonna
cling
squeeze
to this
until its heads pop off.
All the way up until January 20th, and we can watch them all freak out until the 21st.
Oh my God, it's going to be biblical. It's going to be biblical. Well, here's how the president becomes Kamala Harris. And we have to write this all together, guys, because we walked you through what could happen. It only requires 2/3 in both chambers. I mean, that's easy.
I mean,
who doesn't have 2/3 for anything? I mean, like, everyone's got 2/3 except the Congress and Senate, which is a razor thin split. Actually, the Republicans have the greatest advantage in decades. Anyway, other than that, though, here's how Kamala Harris can become president. That's how they wrap the whole article. The act specifies 2 grounds for objection to an electoral college vote. Tell me when this starts to sound familiar. If the electors from a state were not lawfully certified, or if the vote of one or more electors was not regularly given, a vote for a candidate disqualified by the Constitution is plainly in accordance with the normal use of words not regularly given. Disqualification for engaging in insurrection is no different for disqualification based on other constitutional requirements, such as age, citizenship from birth, and 14 years residency in the United States. So, does that sound familiar with the electors? Anything?
Keep in mind, folks, the radical left wants the Electoral College abolished. But in the meantime, we're going to misuse them in any way we possibly can to get the electors to go against their sworn duty and do something crazy.
And by the way, 4 years ago, it was an act of treason, and you're the scum of the earth.
Right. Because
but now
Republicans have played with electors, and so have the Democrats.
They did it.
They did it. But what I find totally ironic about this statement is the same person writing it. I guarantee you could probably find tweets from them saying the Electoral College should be abolished. But in the meantime,
what's amazing about you, and I love this so much about you, you always hone in on the parts that I hold. It's like the last little card inside my vest.
Oh, yeah.
You always do it before. Yeah, no, there's no tweet, but I'm going to show you who read it or who wrote it. Okay. Right. So I'm going to show you what they say about Kamala Harris, and then I'll show you who wrote it. To make an objection under the Count Act, this is the Count Act, the Electoral College Count Act, requires a petition signed by 20% of the members of each house. If the objection is sustained by a majority vote in each house, the vote is not counted, and the numbers of votes required to be elected is reduced by the number of disqualified votes. If all votes for Trump were not counted, Kamala Harris would be elected president. So that's how they're going to do it. 20% in both houses, both chambers, and then the majority has to sign off on it, and then they have to remove Trump's electors, and then Kamala Harris wins. Oh, my God.
So the majority has to sign. See, this is all news to me because this lunacy, this is like new political craziness.
This is next level.
So 2 questions. So with this whole 20% thing, well, no, let's just get to the primary one. So the House and the Senate vote to keep him out of office. Talking about what we were talking about previously, they vote to keep him out. Can the current president then veto that?
I don't know.
I mean, there's so many questions I have. It's. But then so this whole 20% thing, wow, the mental gymnastics required for this is crazy. But there's people out there that are reading this going, oh, thank goodness Kamala's going to be president. I can get my white dudes for Harris shirt out again. It's like.
All right, so now the payoff. This is the Easter egg for who wrote it, because if this does not indicate something, you tell me if it does or doesn't. Okay. Evan Davis was editor-in-chief of the Columbia Law Review, and David Schulte was editor-in-chief of the Yale Law Journal, both clerked for Justice Potter Stewart. Davis is a New York lawyer who served as president of New York's City Bar, and Schulte is a Chicago investment banker. Yale, Columbia, come on. These are the guys that are telling us that they're the experts. Guys, this is why you don't trust these scumbags, because these are the high-level Columbia Law Review? That's like the pinnacle of education. God, the insanity, dude. Oh,
but they're political hacks, and this is true on both sides of the political spectrum, folks. When you go past reason and you're so you just want your candidate to win so bad, you're willing to throw reason to the wind and do crazy stuff like this. This is how republics die, right? If this becomes how we conduct business, this is how we kill our own republic. And this is just absolute craziness. But these people don't care. They don't care what the long-term effect of them desperately installing their political candidate is. They just know they want the political candidate in power now. I don't know. So they can do crazy stuff like what Biden's been doing for the last 4 years. But they don't think about what that really means down the road and how that's going to destroy everything that we hold dear. They just don't care. All they care about is the here and now. We have people that are Yale law graduates talking about this stupidity.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So,
and then regular Joes are like, huh? Like,
what? So
I don't have a law degree, but I know that's stupid beyond belief.
I just searched those people, like you said, because I was like, you know what? Tim might be onto something. Tim's usually onto something. I just searched it, and the first thing that pops up on X is lawyers Evan Davis and David Schulte face backlash after writing article about Congress's power to block Donald Trump from taking office from 2 hours ago. The Hill's Evan Davis and David Schulte should be fired. Repost if you agree. Dude, it's insane, man.
Yeah.
It's just...
Dude, it's like we don't have normal elections anymore. I kind of missed the time when I was a younger man. You know, we had elections. Yeah, they were contentious and, you know, things were said, but that's normal in politics the world over. But there was always a smooth transition from one administration to the next, and all these crazy claims weren't made. It all really started. I think the first craziness I saw was when Bush and Gore ran against each other in the dangling and hanging Chad debacle.
Oh my God.
And it's only gone downhill from there.
That was such a pain.
Do you remember that? It's nuts.
Oh, yeah.
And that wound up in the Supreme Court. And it's like forever people are trying to, if they don't win an election, then they just want to make it happen anyway. And they'll try to find legal loopholes to install their candidate. And we just can't accept this. Anyway.
Anyway, so that's what I've got for you. Kamala's going to be president. Oh, yeah.
Great.
She's going to be president.
Now my blood pressure's through the roof.
Oh, I hate to see it. I'm sorry.
I know. I hope I took my meds this morning. Well, anyway. Just remember, folks, Harris will not be president. Thanks for watching Second Legacy, and we'll talk to you guys soon.